Okay, welcome everyone. As we welcome in Aaron Swade, and Aaron, we see that you're struggling, and we have you in mind that you should feel better. Aaron Ben Sarah, and they should be able to do the shocking when you're ready for it. We welcome in Dr. Black, and Irving Fishbaum, and Saba, and Mel Zachter, Eddie Chazan, Shimon Deer. We welcome in Rabbi Kranz, Moshe Lehman, Mordechai Sultan, Ilya Shutman, Abe Arbach, Shelley Zeitman, Yeshua Shmuel Eisenberg, and Marshall Castle. And here in the shul, we welcome Berish Gesserman, Reb Moshe Jackman, Reb Kramer, Reb Gedalia Engel, Reb Goldstein. We also welcome in Michal, Baruch Ian, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol niyeh b'dvaro. We learn with the tefillah that all those that are trying to get into yeshiva, children should get in quickly, easily, pleasantly. We also, tonight is the yahrzeit. My mother had a sister who passed away very, very young, many years ago, at the age of 43, Mrs. Rachel Miller. She was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful woman. We learned Le'ili Nishmasa on her yahrzeit tonight, Rachel Bas Menachem. Her neshama should have an aliyah. She should be a Melitzis Yosher for her family, for all of us and all of Klal Yisrael. Imar. And we are holding 5 lines from the bottom of Lamed Beis Amud Beis. 5 lines from the bottom of Lamed Beis Amud Beis. Imar. Bifnei kama hu mevatloi. Before the Takana of Rabbi Gamliel, if the husband sent out a shliach, he could convene a bezdin and be mevatl the get. He wouldn't have to overtake the shliach. And the question is, in front of how many? Now we know a regular bezdin is 3, but that's only because you have to have a vote and you can't have an even number. Ain't bezdin shakal, so that's why you have to have 3. But over here there's no vote, and therefore maybe over here it's enough with 2. So says the Gemara, Emar, with Neikamo Mavatli, in front of how many does he have to be Mavatl to get? Rav Nachman Amar B'fnei Beis, in front of 2 people. Rav Sheshes Amar B'fnei Gimel. Rav Sheshes says in front of 3 people. Rav Sheshes Amar B'fnei Gimel, well, Bezdin Ketani, and everybody knows a Bezdin is, a minimum Bezdin is 3 people. Rav Nachman Amar B'fnei Beis, it's in front of 2. The Beit Trey, Nami Bezdin Karilhu. 2 also could have a din of a Bezdin. It's a Bezdin Shakal. Now, normally you can't have a Bezdin Shakal and even Bezdin because you need to be able to break the tie. But here, there's no vote. Amar Rav Nachman, so Rav Nachman says, Mina la. Where do I get from that you could use 2? Ditnan, because we learned, Mosrani lefneichem, this is talking about a pruzbul, right? Guess who owes money to Baruch Ian? All right, nobody could figure it out. Marshall owes money to Baruch, so Baruch has to make a pruzbul. Otherwise, the Shemitah will be Meshamet alone, which Marshall is always, he's always looking for that. So, Mosrani Lefneichem, in the mechanics of a pruzbul, Baruch Yin says, I give before you Ploini uPloini hadayanim, Shelley and Aaron the dayanim, Shebamokim Ploini. So you see that it's enough 2, and they're called dayanim. Rav Sheshes says, what are you talking about? There's 3. What is it, Tana, a peddler that he has to tell you all the names? Rav Sheshes Oto Tana Ki Ruchlo Lechsha V'Lezel. There's a Tana, is Tana peddler over here? Obviously, it just says Dayan V'Dayan. It means Dayan V'Dayan, etc. And it's actually, Shelley, Aaron, and also Saba. It's a threesome. As we welcome in Ben C and Cohn, and we seem to have lost Aaron. Amar Rav Nachman, again, 3 lines from the top of Lamed Gimel Lamed Aleph. Amar Rav Nachman, again the Gemara says, Mina Amina La. How do I know that 2 is enough? Ditnan, because it says Hadayonim Choismin Lamata Oy Ha'edim. By the prosbul, the dayanim could sign on the bottom, or witnesses. My love, dayanim dum yudeidim. The dayanim are similar to the eidim. Ma eidim shnayim, just like witnesses are 2. Af dayanim nami shnayim, because otherwise, what's it saying? Rav Sheshes and Rav Sheshes says midayirya. Who says? Hakadisa, vakadisa. If it's dayanim, it's 3. If it's eidim, it's 2. So the Gemara says, well, then Ramali Lamisnei Dayanim, Ramali Lamisnei Eidim. That's because it's telling you that you could mix and match. You could say, we gave before you Dayanim, and then they could sign on the bottom as an aid. It makes no difference if you signed in the language Dayanim that we give before you and you and you the Dayanim, and then they sign on it and they say Moshe Meir ben Aaron Tzvi Eid. And it makes no difference if it says that we gave this in front of you, witnesses, and they chasmei dayanim, and they sign as a dayan. You could mix and match, and that's not a problem. But each one, eidim are 2, and dayanim are 3. So we said, but Rabbi Gamliel stopped the fact, again, Chatzkel sent to get to his wife with Marshall, and he wasn't interested in overtaking Marshall, so he said initially Chatzkel could convene 3 people and cancel it without overtaking Marshall. However, he stopped it mipnei tikkun ha'olam. So now the Gemara says, what does it mean mipnei tikkun ha'olam? My mipnei tikkun ha'olam. So Rabbi Yochanan Amar mipnei takanas mamzerim. This is the way we learned, because the fear is that Chatzkel will cancel it in front of a bezdin. Marshall won't know about it. Marshall will deliver the get to the wife. The wife won't know that it's canceled, and she'll go and marry and have mamzerin. Reish Lakish says, no, the reason is mipnei takanas agunais. We don't want the wife to be alone. We don't want to make it easy for Chatzkel to cancel. If we allow Chatzkel, maybe Chatzkel won't run after Marshall. But if he could cancel it by simply convening a court, then he'll cancel, and then she'll be stuck again with not being able to get married. Let's see inside the 2 pshatim. Rabbi Yochanan says it's because of making sure that there shouldn't be mamzerim. Savalok Rav Nachman. He holds like Rav Nachman. Da'amar b'fnei shnayim. That you can cancel it in front of 2 people. Oh, 2 people doesn't have a curl. 3 people have a curl. 2 people doesn't have a curl. And obey trade less lukala. So he's going to cancel it in front of 2 people. She won't know about it, and Marshall won't find out about it. He'll deliver the get, and then she'll get married. And she'll go ahead and get married, even though the get is canceled and she's an Eishes Ish. And that's going to cause mamzerim. Reish Lakish, he holds that you need 3 people. So we're not worried that she's not going to find out about it, because 3 people have a curl. that if the husband is going to have to cancel, he's going to have to cancel in front of a bezin of 3. Obey tlasa islu kala. That's going to get out. Vishama v'yada, she's going to hear about it and know about it. V'lay mitzvah, and she's not going to get married. So we're not worried about mamzerim, but what we're worried about is that the husband might not have ran after Marshall. He's, there's a reason why she wants a divorce. He's a lazy, good-for-nothing bum, right? But to convene a bezdin right near him, that'll do, and she'll be stuck again without a get. The takanas agunas udika, and we're concerned that she shouldn't be stuck with this guy refusing to give her a get. Now, what happens? We said that because of takanas mamzerim and takanas agunas, he can't convene a bezdin and cancel us. What happens if he does? After the fact, is it canceled or isn't it canceled? That's the next shayla of the Gemara. Tan Rabbanan. Tan Rabbanan.
This is from the old Gemara.
Tan Rabbanan. Batlai mavutal. If he canceled it, it's canceled. Divrei Rebbe. That's the opinion of Rebbe. If he cancels it, you're not supposed to do it, but if he cancels it, it's canceled. Reb Shimon Gamliel says, Eino yachal loy levatlai. He can't cancel it. And not only that, v'loy lahoysif al tano. He can't convene a bezdin to add a condition. Why? Because, what do you mean he shouldn't do it, but if he does it, it's good? Shem kein makoich bezdin yafa, then bezdin doesn't have any teeth. Says the Gemara, but I don't understand. If you're telling me that it's really batal, if he convenes a bezdin, it's batal, and she's still an Eishes Ish. But because Makoich Bezdin Yafa, we're going to permit an Eishes Ish to get married? We're saying that the get goes through, when Marshall delivers the get, it's a good get, even though really his canceling is good. But because of Makoich Bezdin Yafa, we say that it's the canceling is not a good canceling, and the get is a good get. So because of Makoich Bezdin Yafa, we're being matter and Eishes Ish. Says mi kemidei de medaraisa bottle gita. The get is bottle. O mishum Makoich Bezdin Yafa sharina and Eishes Ish la'alma. We permitted an Eishes Ish to the world. Says the Chacham have that koyach in Kol de Mekadesh, because when a person says under the chuppah Hariyat Mekadeshesli Kedas Moshe v'Yisrael, he's accepting it according to the Ratzon of the Chachamim. Kol de Mekadesh Adaita the Rabbanim Mekadesh, and here, since they said he cannot cancel the get, Afkeinu Rabbanim l'Kedushim minay, they liquidated the Kedushin. So Gemara says, I could understand how they liquidate the Kedushin if it's Kesef. Because they'll say Hefker Bezdin Hefker, and the pruta that he gave wasn't his. Or the ring that he gave wasn't his. Amalei Ravina Ravashi Teinach the Kaddish B'Kaspa. Because there we could say Hefker Bezdin Hefker. Kaddish B'Biyah Ma'ikalameima. What could they do with the Biyah? The din is, you could be Mekadosh and Isha with Biyah. What could they do to make the Kedushin not good? Says the Gemara, they could say, Shavi Rabbanan Libila, say Bilas Nus. The Rabbanan made the Biyah a Biyas Nus. What do you want to ask me?
How do you call someone an Aguna?
Aguna sometimes means stuck, and sometimes it simply means that she's not going to get a get because he's a deadbeat.
But she's married.
Huh?
But she's married.
But he's not with her. She's alone.
He's not living with her.
He's not living with her.
That's the case.
He's a deadbeat husband.
That's what we're worried
about. Right. Now, okay, we want to welcome in Avram Schenkman, who's just joining us, Moshe Lehman, who just joined us. Avram, it's great to have you. Aaron is back. Aaron, all of our thoughts are with you, Aaron. And the thing I will tell you is that fluid will go away. It should go away fast, but it's a problem that they're going to get rid of. And then they'll treat you. It's Hashem, we're going to daven that it should be an easy process for you. It should be a tremendous chus for you that everybody sees how uncomfortable you are and you're still coming on to learn and concentrating. It's a tremendous chizuk for all of us. For those that are just joining us, we're 5 lines from the bottom of Lamed Gimel Lamed Aleph. And by the way, Rabbi Say, I don't know if everybody saw the note, but we will be learning a chok tonight. So stay tuned for a chok tonight. Who is that? That's Avram Shenkman. Though we had Pesach here earlier, but he doesn't seem to be here now. Michal Druk is joining us from Delaware. It's good to have you. Now, Tan Rabbanan. The Gemara is going to weave in and out a little bit now. Tan Rabbanan. Hang on for the ride, Rabbi say. Tan Rabbanan. Amala Sara Kisvu Get Li Ishti. Chazkel tells 10 people, write a get for my wife. So, Yochel Levatel Zeh Shaloi Bifnei Zeh. He could cancel, let's say, of the 10, 2 of the 10 were Mordechai and Mel. He could cancel Mordechai and Mel, not in front of the other 8. Divrei Rebbe, that's the position of Rebbe. Reb Shimon Gamliel Oimer Eina Yochel Levatel Ela Zeh Bifnei Zeh. If he wants to cancel, he has to cancel in front of all 10. If he doesn't cancel in front of all 10, it's not effective. Shimon Gamliel Oimer Eina Yochel Levatel Ela Zeh Bifnei Zeh. So what's going on over here? So the Gemara says, well, here what we have is the idea of Eda Shebatla Miktsasa Batla Kula. Says the Gemara, B'may Kamiflagi, Be'eda Shebatla Miktsasa Batla Kula. Be'eda Shebatla Miktsasa Batla Kula Kamiflagi. He told 10 people to write the get. Rebbe holds that when he cancels 2, the rest of it falls apart. So therefore, it doesn't have to be in front of the others, because since 2 are canceled, they can't do it anymore. Because you need to have the whole set, and since 2 are canceled, so obviously it's no good. No, I'm jumping. Slow down, Moshe Meir. It's very tricky, this Gemara. Rebbe holds, Eda Shebat L'Miksasa Loi Bat L'Kula. Rebbe holds that if 2 are canceled, the rest are not canceled. So therefore, he could cancel Mel and Mordechai, not in front of the others, because there's no problem. Even though Mel and Mordechai were canceled, the other 8 still are effective to go and write and deliver the get. And therefore, if the other 8 go and write and deliver the get, let them do so. Reb Shimon Gamliel ben Gamliel holds Eidah Shabbat LaMiktsasa Bat LaKula. The din is that if you cancel 2 of the witnesses, the whole thing falls apart. Now the other 8 won't know that Mel and Mordechai were canceled, so they don't know that their whole thing unraveled. V'hanach lo yodei, they don't know. V'ozlei v'kosvei v'yavei, they'll go ahead and write it and deliver it. V'sharu eishes ish le'alma, and they'll permit an eishes ish. Now this svara of Eidah Shabbat LaMiktsasa Bat LaKula is a little bit of an unusual svara, because here we're not talking about where he said kulchem. They don't all have to write it. But it's...
they all have to give it?
They don't all have to give it either. So since they don't all have to write it and they don't have to all give it, so Rebbe is of the opinion that when he cancels Mel and Mordechai, the other 8 are still effective. They're still shluchim. So okay, so let them. So he doesn't have to do it in front of them. He canceled Mel and Mordechai, but the others that do it are effective. So there's no worry. Reb Shimon Gamliel says no. When he cancels Mel and Mordechai, all 10 are canceled. If he doesn't cancel Mel and Mordechai in front of the other 8, they won't know, and they'll think that they're still empowered, and they'll give a get which they can't anymore because Eidah Shabbat LaMiktsasa Bat LaKula, and therefore they would be matir and eishes ish. So that's one way of learning the machlokes. That's pretty straightforward.
But if they said kulchem, then you wouldn't have this problem, because then they all have
V'ba Yisema, let's concentrate on what we have over here. V'ba Yisema, excuse me, but we're not finished with this case yet. V'ba Yisema, another way to look at it. The Kuli Alma Eidah Shabbat LaMiktsasa Loy Bat LaKula, because that's a very shver thing. You know, Eidah Shabbat LaKula is where they're all giving Eidas. Here they don't all have to give Eidas. Levi is saying the Kuli Alma Eidah Shabbat LaMiktsasa Loy Bat LaKula. Even if Mel and Mordechai are canceled, the other 8 could do their job. But Reb Shimon Gamliel holds a different lumdus. He holds that something that you activated in front of 10 people, you could only liquidate, you could only abrogate, you could only nullify, you could only strip of power in front of 10 people. Says the Gemara, V'hachainu time to Reb Shimon Gamliel kasavar milsa de misavda ba'ape yatzara. Something that was activated in front of 10, tzricha be'asara lemishlefa. You need 10 to remove. And therefore, when he cancels Mel and Mordechai, they're not canceled. They can't be canceled unless all 10 are there. So now the Gemara declares what Rabbi Kranz asked. Ibayelu kulchem mahu. What if he said all of you? So in the case where he said all of you, so if he cancels Mel and Mordechai, so then there's nothing to worry about. Because where he says cancels Mel and Mordechai, so then nothing could happen because the other 8 can't do it without Mel and Mordechai because you need all 10. But if the reason is that you cannot do it something with that you did with 10, you cannot remove unless you have 10, then he can't cancel Mel and Mordechai for that reason. So let's see it inside. Ibayalu Kulchem out. What if Chatzkel said all 10 of you should write and deliver the get? So now all 10 have to be Eidim. So what would Reb Shimon Gamliel hold over here? Time of Reb Shimon Gamliel is the reason of Reb Shimon Gamliel Mishum de Kasavar Eidah Shabbat LaMiksasa Bat LaKula is the reason because Reb Shimon Gamliel that in Eidos that part of it was canceled. All of it is canceled. Is the reason. Reb Shimon Gamliel's opinion was that he's not able to be mevatel. So, but here, there's no worry. Why can't he be mevatel it? He said that you can't be mevatel because we're afraid. My timing to Reb Shimon Gamliel is the reason why Reb Shimon Gamliel says you can't do it. Mishum de Ksavar Eidah Shabbat LaMiksasa Bat LaKula, and we were afraid that if he would cancel Mordechai and Mel, then that would strip the other 8 of power because Eidah Shabbat LaMiksasa Bat LaKula, and the other 8 won't know about it, and they'll go ahead and do it. But over here, we don't have to worry about the other 8 going ahead and doing it because they can't do it without Mordechai and Mel because he insisted on Kulchem. V'hani came into Amalu Kulchem, since he said Kulchem, loimatzi kasvei v'yaveh. There's no worry that they'll go and write it, as Rabbi Kranz was alluding to, and therefore you should be able to cancel the 2. Cancel the 2, and automatically the whole thing falls apart. Oy Dilma, oh no, the reason why Reb Shimon Gamliel said you can't cancel it is because something that's done with 10 cannot be removed without 10. And then you wouldn't be able to do it with Mordechai and Mel alone. Oy Dilma, time Reb Shimon Gamliel, Mishum de Kasavar, Kol Milsa de Misavda Ba'api Be'asara, anything activated with 10, Sricha Be'asara L'Mishlfa. You need 10 to remove it. V'hilkach, you don't want to stop me in the middle of a sentence here.
They all have to sign it?
You don't want to stop me in the middle of a sentence here, right? How do you expect 25 people to follow my train of thought if you stop me in mid-sentence? Again, we'll start over again. Oy Dilma, time of Reb Shimon Gamliel, the reason of Shimon Gamliel is Mishum de Kesavar, Kol Milsa de Misavda Ba'ape Be'asara, anything that's done in front of 10 people, Tzricha Be'asara L'Mishlfa, you need the 10 gathered to deactivate it. V'ilkach afilu kulchem nami, even in the event that the husband said kulchem, you cannot be mevatel just Mel and Mordechai because of the fact that you don't have all 10 there. Now, Ben Sion, what did you want to ask me?
Do all 10 have to sign it?
Yes.
Oh.
That's kulchem.
Yeah, so if they all sign it, then what's the problem? Yeah.
Well, no, the question is, even if they all have to sign it, if you say that the reason of Reb Shimon Gamliel is that you could only cancel anyone if all 10 are there, so if all 10 are not there, Mordechai and Mel are not canceled.
Mm-hmm.
Rabbi Kranz, did I cover your question also?
It wasn't a question. I just, the Rav had mentioned Kulchem before, that's why I just...
Now,
Even if you didn't say kuchem, if you have it then, you don't need kuchem.
no, kulchem is different than 10. 10 means that we're allowing any of the 10 to do it. Kulchem means they all have to do it.
Right, but if we convene in front of a Sarah and you have a din that you have to then abrogate it from a Sarah, then you don't have to come on to the din of
No, the Chiddush is that it's even by Kulchem. Because the other Svar would not be by Kulchem. The other Svar that Reb Shimon Gamliel says that the reason why you can't cancel just 2 is because the other 8 won't know that 8 is Shabbat Miksasa Batla Kula, and they'll go ahead and do the get. By Kulchem, you don't have to worry about that, because they can't do it without the other 2. So Reb Shimon Gamliel's reason would be not apply by Kulchem. In this Pshat in Reb Shimon Gamliel, it applies even by Kulchem.
What will come out bad if you hold Milsim Misav to Be'at Tzrich Be'asar L'Mishlava? So what are we worried about now?
It's not what are we worried about. It means that his canceling of Mel and Mordechai is not a good cancellation.
And therefore?
And therefore, if they give a get, it's good.
Okay, so there's nothing bad that's
Well, not bad. It's a halacha,
Okay.
which according to Rebbe, is not that way. Doesn't have to be bad. It's telling that's the machlokes Rebbe and Reb Shimon Gamliel. Tajma, told you we're going to be weaving in and out over here. Get ready, Marshall. Tonight's chok is Ben Sarah Myra.
Why are you pointing that out to me?
You'll have to think about it.
Stop laughing, Aaron.
Aaron, could you really think he couldn't figure it out? Anyway, Tajma. First time today that Aaron's left. Tajma. Amar l'shnayim. So the husband says to Mel and Mordechai, Tnu get le'ishti. Yachal levatel zeh shaloi b'fnei zeh. He could cancel one not in front of the other. Divrei Rebbe. Reb Shimon Gamliel Omer eini yachal levatel ela zeh b'fnei zeh. Now, in the case of the 2, he meant that they should give the get and be the witnesses. So they're necessary. Vashnayim dechi kulchem damu, and yet upligi. Yet Reb Shimon Gamliel argues. So it seems to be that the reason Reb Shimon Gamliel is that something that's activated in front of 2 can only be deactivated in front of 2. Amar Rav Ashi, so Rav Ashi says no. Ibei de ksiva, if he meant the 2 of you should write it and sign it, then hachinami. Then Reb Shimon Gamliel would agree that you could cancel it one without the other. But hacha b'mayaskinan be'edei haylacha. It's talking about witnesses to bring the get, where one could do it without the other. And since one could do it without the other, Reb Shimon Gamliel says that since he holds Eido Shabbat L'Miksasa Bat L'Kula according to the first reason, that's why you can't cancel it one without the other. And Hachanami Mistav Diktani Seifa Amal Lezeh B'fnei Atzmai Ulezeh B'fnei Atzmai, if he said to each one independently, so then Yochel Avatel Zeh Shaloi B'fnei Zeh. So Iyamid B'Shloime Be'edei Halacha, it's witnesses that are bringing it. Shabbat, that's why you could do it one not in front of the other. If it's talking about witnesses of writing the get, if there were one without the other, can they sign it if they were told one without the other? Witnesses cannot combine unless they see it together. So Gemara says, well, that's not such a raya because that they could sign it even if they saw it, even if each one was not in front of the other. So the Gemara does not come to a conclusion of what the reason of Reb Shimon Gamliel is. Very interesting. Any questions on this before I go any further? Amar Rav Shmuel bar Yehuda. Shamis minei de Rab Abba Tarte. I heard two psakim from. I heard two psakim. I heard two psakim. I heard two psakim from Rab Abba. Chada Kerebi v'chada Kereb Shimon Gamliel. In one he paskin like Rebbe, and one he paskin like Reb Shimon Gamliel. V'lo yadinon hey Kerebi v'hei Kereb Shimon Gamliel. Now let's go over. The first one is that Rebbe said that even though you're not supposed to convene a court when Marshal was sent with the get, you're not supposed to convene a court, but Rebbe said if you did, in Butlei Mavutal. And Shimon Gamliel says, no, even if they were Mavatal, it doesn't count, because Makoich Bezdin Yafa. If not, what would be the strength of Bezdin? That's the first machlokes between Rebbe and Reb Shimon Gamliel. And the second machlokes between Rebbe and Reb Shimon Gamliel is if you could cancel one without the other. If you could do it without the other. So in one we paskin like Rebbe, and one we paskin like Reb Shimon Gamliel. V'lo yadana, we don't know Heike Rebbe, Veike Reb Shimon Gamliel. Which one was like Rebbe? Which one was like Reb Shimon Gamliel? So now the Gemara is going to try to figure it out. Amar Rav Yosef, and by the way, Rabbi Isai, bravo to all of you. This is a really hard piece of Gemara, and everybody is really up to the task. It's really amazing. So says the Gemara, Amar Rav Yosef, Nirze Anan. Let's analyze. Dechi Asa Rav Dimi Amar Maisa v'Asa Rebbe Kedivrei Chachamim. There was a Maisa where Rebbe did like the Chachamim. Now this is referring to Gemara in Ksuvas. The Chachamim say that if Bezdin makes a mistake in evaluating property of a sixth, so they say that the sale is canceled. Bezdin that evaluates property, and it was sold, and they made a mistake in the evaluation of a sixth, it says that the Maisa Bezdin is canceled. Amal fun of Rebbe Parta Benoisha Rabbi Elazar ben Parta. So Rebbe Parta, the son of Rabbi Elazar ben Parta, Ben Benai, the grandson Sharaparta Agadol said, Im Kain, if so, Makoyach Bezdin Yafa. If so, if you're going to cancel Bezdin, then what's the strength of Bezdin? V'chaza Rebbe v'asa Reb Shimon Gamliel. So that means that he holds that Makoyach Bezdin Yafa. So if he holds that Makoyach Bezdin Yafa, so that means that we paskin like Reb Shimon Gamliel, that we paskin like Reb Shimon Gamliel, that we say that what Bezdin decides is final, So if Bezdin said that the get is not a good get, when they cancel it in front of a Bezdin, it's not a good get. So then if there we paskin like Reb Shimon Gamliel, or Medahak Reb Shimon Gamliel, then ha Rebbe. Then over here we paskin like Rebbe, that if you could cancel Mordechai and you could cancel Mordechai and Mel, not in front of the other Edom. V'af Reb Yoshia demin Usha Savar Chadek Rebbe v'Chadek Reb Shimon Gamliel. Dam Rabba Bar Chana Chamish Sabe Havinon Kamei de Reb Yeshua demin Usha. There were 5 elderly people, 5 elderly sages, 5 elderly sages congregated before Reb Yeshua Yoshia demin Usha. Also, Gavra Kamei, a man who was a very bad husband, came before them. He was maybe abusing his wife, maybe physically abusing her. V'ashkele gita al korche, and they forced him to give a get. Amalon, and after, right, it says koifen oisay achi yomi roitzani, and after they forced him to give the get, Amalon, he said to them, Zilu atmaru, go and hide, because he didn't want the husband to find them and cancel it. Now, if we held like Rebbe that if he convened a Bezdin, it's good after the fact. So what if they hid? He could convene his own Bezdin and cancel it. So we hold like Reb Shimon Gamliel that you can't make a ad hoc Bezdin and cancel it because him came Makoich Bezdin Yafa like Reb Shimon Gamliel. If you hold also like Reb Shimon Gamliel that you can't cancel one without the other, why do they have to hide? Let them just separate. Lamalu atmure. Why did they have to hide? Just live duru ivdure. El ishmami no, we could conclude from here that chodek Rebbe, that in that we hold like Rebbe that you can cancel one without the other. The chodek Reb Shimon Gamliel that you cannot cancel it in an ad hoc Bezdin because him came makoyach Bezdin yafa. Rava Amar Rav Nachman. Rava says in the name of Rav Nachman, halacha kerebi b'shtein. The halacha is like Rebbe in both. And that taka, if they're canceled, if he makes an ad hoc Bezdin and cancels it, it is canceled. Says the Gemara, can Rav Nachman say that? The less later Rav Nachman makoyach Bezdin yafa. Does he not hold that we say that Bezdin, has a right? We can't strip Bezdin of their powers? Rav Nachman Amar Shmuel, Rav Nachman said in the name of Shmuel, Yisoimim shebo lachloik b'nichse aviyim, orphans that come to divide with the estate of their father, Bezdin mamidin lohem apotropos, Bezdin appoints for them an executor, ubayru lehem chelik yafa, and selects for them fair portions. Higdilu yechaylen limchais, when they grow up, they could protest and ask for a redivide. Rav Nachman didei Amar higdilu ein yechaylen limchais. When they grow up, they can't protest, because if they could protest, then what did Bezdin accomplish? Tim kain makoyach Bezdin yafa. So you see that Rav Nachman does hold the makoyach Bezdin yafa. So he says, yeah, Rav Nachman holds hasam emayna. He holds it by monetary matters. Hacha isura over here to say that Bezdin has a right to make it that if he made an ad hoc Bezdin and canceled the get, and she's really still an Ashes Ish, to say because of Makoyach Bezdin Yafa, they liquidate the get and they liquidate the cancellation and they are matter in Ashes Ish Lalma, that he doesn't hold. Okay, Rabbi, so we're going to stop over here. That was a very hard piece of Gemara. Just in case you found it hard, that means that you are completely normal people. Gedalia, could I trouble you for the green screen?